Tonight, Pope Leo XIV outlining some of his priorities and making his first trip outside the Vatican. An earthquake rattles parts of the South, and could there be a breakthrough in the trade war as officials from the U.S. and China meet face to face? First, Pope Leo laying out his vision for the future of the church, what he said in a meeting with cardinals about his priorities, including the threat of AI, making his first visit outside of the Vatican to a shrine in the tomb of the late Pope Francis, the first American pontiff embraced by his hometown of Chicago, and our team in a small town in Peru that also claims him as their own. Terry Moran from the Vatican tonight. A 4.1 magnitude earthquake shaking the southern U.S., its epicenter in Tennessee, but felt as far away as Atlanta. How common are quakes of this size in this region? And the threat of aftershocks in the days ahead. The U.S. and China sitting down for high-stakes talks overseas, the first time since the start of President Trump's trade war. What we know about the meetings as the impact hits American ports and the fate of the global economy hangs in the balance. Selina Wang from the White House tonight. India and Pakistan agree to an American-brokered ceasefire, a break in the tense standoff as Europe's leaders lend their support for a temporary truce in Ukraine. The reaction from the Trump administration and Moscow. More delays and cancellations at Newark Airport after a third brief outage. The growing concerns over America's aging infrastructure. The White House intensifies its immigration crackdown, saying they are considering the suspension of a fundamental constitutional right. The Timberwolves investigate after two of their fans are accused of racially charged comments. And Baby Boom, the hospital in Wisconsin, and what many of the nurses in the labor and delivery ward have in common with the patients.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. Several developing stories as we come on tonight. An earthquake shaking multiple states across the South, and what we're learning from those high-stakes meetings between the U.S. and China over the trade war. But we begin with Pope Leo XIV, just days into the job, laying out his vision of the challenges facing the church and the world. Hours ago, the new pope holding his first meeting with the cardinals, the men who chose him with a resounding majority. The Pope identifying AI as one of the most crucial issues, saying it threatens the defense of human dignity, justice, and labor. Leo later making his first trip outside of the Vatican, stopping at the tomb of his predecessor, Pope Francis, laying a single white rose. While at the Vatican, the chimney that announced his selection with that blast of white smoke taken down by a team of firefighters. And tonight from Chicago to Peru, the reaction pouring in from two communities who both claim Pope Leo as one of their own. ABC's Terry Moran leads us off from Vatican City.
Today in Rome, a stirring image. Pope Leo XIV kneeling in prayer at the tomb of his predecessor, Pope Francis. And earlier, the new pope praised Francis and his reform efforts, declaring in his first meeting with his cardinals his own commitment to the path laid out by Pope Francis, saying, "Let us take up this precious legacy and continue on the journey, inspired by the same hope that is born of faith." Pope Leo also looked to the challenges ahead, especially artificial intelligence and the role the church must have in reckoning with its powerful capabilities. The church offers to everyone, he said, the treasury of her social teaching in response to developments in the field of artificial intelligence that pose new challenges for the defense of human dignity, justice, and labor. And late today, Leo made an impromptu visit to this ancient Augustinian shrine just south of Rome, his first trip outside the Vatican. He arrived in a Volkswagen multivan and greeted throngs of supporters in the streets, camera phones pointed at him from every direction. Viva Maria! Afterwards, the Pope exclaimed, "Viva Maria," or "Long live Mary, the mother of Jesus." And in Peru, where Pope Leo spent 2 decades, celebrations and memories.
Pope Leo, or Papa Leon as he's known here in Chiclayo, spent years working and worshiping right here in this cathedral. He really prided himself on becoming a part of the community, even becoming a naturalized citizen in the process. So it's no wonder that so many here today are saying Pope might be from the U.S., but he's Peruvian too.
Being the first pope from the United States comes with its own brand of celebrity. His beloved Chicago White Sox are claiming him as one of their own. And look at this. At the 2005 World Series, there is the future pope in the stands. And at his alma mater, Villanova University in Philadelphia.
To the Augustinians, he's always been Bob, our brother. And now he is Pope Leo.
A remarkable life journey all the way to the Vatican. Terry Moran is back with us tonight. And Terry, the new Pope already maintaining a busy schedule. What's ahead as he enters the first full week of his papacy?
With the early days of any papacy are always busy. That meeting with the cardinals the Pope had, that's the first of many, no question about it, as he gets his agenda in place. And tomorrow, here in St. Peter's Square, the Pope will lead his first Sunday prayers. You can bet it will be packed here. The big event next Sunday, his inauguration mass. It'll be attended by statesmen and women from all around the world. His first chance to really take his place on the world stage. Whit?
Terry Moran, we appreciate your reporting all week on these historic moments. Thank you. We turn now to the earthquake here at home, rattling parts of the South. The 4.1 magnitude quake centered not far from Greenback, Tennessee. It was felt as far away as Charlotte and Atlanta. Residents startled by the shaking, which many are not used to in that part of the country. Here's ABC's Alex Presha.
Tonight, parts of the Southeast bracing for potential aftershocks after a 4.1 magnitude earthquake rumbled through the region.
That's pretty common for around this area. 1s and 2s. 4, pretty remarkable.
The quake hit around 9 this morning in eastern Tennessee, just south of Knoxville. It could be felt across 6 states and as far away as Atlanta. In Wears Valley, Tennessee, this black bear approaches a home and then scurries away terrified. And in Knoxville, this family shaken up by the sudden tremor. And in Murphy, North Carolina, the rumble was so loud it sounded like thunder. The Eastern Tennessee seismic zone is known for frequent small earthquakes. Seismologists say this is one of the most active earthquake zones in the eastern U.S. Dozens of earthquakes hit this region every year, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, and most of them are small and rarely felt.
If you do feel shaking, remember, drop, cover, and hold. Most injuries from earthquakes occur because objects fall on top of you.
So far, no injuries or damage reported. Wait, the largest earthquake to hit this region was a 4.6, and that was back in 2003. Whit?
Alex Presha, thank you. We turn now to a potential breakthrough in the U.S.-China trade war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent today meeting in Switzerland with top Chinese officials. The first formal in-person talks between the two sides since President Trump slapped 145% tariffs on China. But the White House tonight trying to lower expectations. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selina Wang.
Tonight, high-stakes negotiations underway between the U.S. and China that could decide the fate of the global economy.
I think we're going to come back with a fair deal for both China and us.
The first meeting since President Trump imposed staggering 145% tariffs on China, dramatically reducing trade between the world's largest economies, causing slowdowns at vital U.S. shipping hubs. The number of cargo ships at the port of Los Angeles down 32%.
Retailers and large importers are telling me directly that they've all but stopped imports from China.
Trump pressed on the thousands of dock workers and truck drivers worried about their jobs due to the slowing traffic.
That means we lose less money. When you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
China had previously demanded Trump first remove the tariffs before coming to the negotiating table. Before the U.S.-China trade talks began, the president suggesting he'd be open to lowering his tariffs. Writing on social media, 80% tariff on China seems right. Trump asked if he'll be disappointed if his team comes back without a deal.
No, not at all, because we already made a great deal. We're not doing business with China right now.
And the president is headed to the Middle East on Monday for the first major foreign trip of his second term, stopping in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. The region has played a critical role in mediating conflicts around the world. This trip also comes as the U.S. starts another round of nuclear talks with Iran. Whit?
Selina Wang at the White House tonight. Thank you. We turn now to the tensions between India and Pakistan. Both sides now agreeing to a U.S.-brokered ceasefire after dozens have been killed in recent attacks. ABC's Lama Hassan has been following developments from London. And Lama, what more are you learning about how this deal came together?
Yeah, tonight fears of an all-out war between India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed nations, seems to be averted for now. There have been reports of explosions with both sides accusing each other of violations, but the ceasefire brokered by the U.S. seems to be holding. President Trump posting on social media saying that after a long night of talks mediated by the U.S., India and Pakistan have now agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that he worked with Vice President J.D. Vance over the last 2 days to reach this breakthrough. The Pakistani Prime Minister personally thanking them and the U.S. administration for their role in mediating this truce. And after a dangerous escalation in attacks and counterattacks with both sides launching missiles and drones, this is very welcome news. Whit.
Yeah, certainly an encouraging development there. And Lama, there's also a big push right now for another potential ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, that's right. With European leaders and the U.S. are increasing the pressure on Russia to agree to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire deal, making the announcement after discussing the plan by phone with President Trump. This is significant because it's the first time the Trump administration and European countries are threatening Russia with massive sanctions, effectively an ultimatum if it does not comply. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov making it clear his country doesn't bow down to pressure, but also saying they are open to dialogue. The ball is now in President Putin's court. Whit.
All right, Lama, thank you. Back here at home, the travel nightmare at Newark Airport may be just the tip of the iceberg. A third air traffic control outage in just weeks, forcing more delays and cancellations, raising concerns about aging infrastructure at major aviation hubs nationwide. Here's ABC's Ika Jachi.
For the millions of passengers traveling through Newark every year, promises of $1 billion overhaul of the nation's outdated air traffic control systems can't come soon enough.
Oh my God, so yesterday I was supposed to fly from Columbus to Newark, straight 1-hour flight, got canceled.
Those decades-old systems suffering another frightening failure early Friday when radar screens went black for about 90 seconds, the third time in less than 2 weeks.
Our scope shift went black again.
The breakdowns from computers that still use floppy disks to upload data, combined with ongoing runway construction at Newark and a nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers, raising safety concerns.
As someone that flies a lot, I try not to think about it because that's a really scary thought.
But Newark isn't the only airport facing these challenges. A 2024 government report shows 105 out of 138 critical air traffic control systems being identified as unsustainable or at risk, impacting the safety and efficiency of the nation's airspace system.
We're going to have new telecom, new fiber throughout the system. We're going to have brand new radios in our towers.
United, which uses Newark as one of its main hubs, has already halted at least 35 round-trip flights. Now, the FAA is likely to reduce traffic at the airport from 80 arriving and departing flights per hour to 68 per hour for most of the day. Whit.
Ika Jachi, thank you. President Trump's immigration crackdown is intensifying. The White House says it's considering suspending habeus corpus, the constitutional right allowing people to challenge their detention in court. What that could mean, and it comes one day after the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested during a protest at an ICE detention facility. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Tonight, the Trump administration saying it's weighing the dramatic and unprecedented step of suspending habeus corpus, the long-standing right of an individual to challenge their detention in court to hasten sweeping deportations of undocumented immigrants.
That's an option we're actively looking at.
The Constitution states habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. It's only happened 4 times in American history. But the White House claiming the United States is facing a national security threat from undocumented immigrants, and now considering the extraordinary move after a series of federal judges halted the deportations of some migrants, saying they should be given the chance to legally challenge their removals. President Trump posting this week, "Our court system is not letting me do the job I was elected to do." Meantime, a tense scene at a federal immigration detention center in New Jersey. The mayor of Newark and Democratic candidate for governor Ras Baraka arrested and detained for several hours, accused of trespassing after he tried to tour the facility with 3 Democratic members of Congress.
If I was on their property, I was invited there. Somebody allowed me to go in. I didn't climb a fence. I didn't kick the door down.
The U.S. attorney for New Jersey and President Trump's former lawyer, Alina Habba, saying the mayor was trespassing and ignored multiple warnings from federal agents to remove himself. And outside Boston, Tufts University doctoral student Ramesa Ozturk seen apprehended by plainclothes ICE officers a year after she co-wrote a pro-Palestinian op-ed in the student paper, now released on bail. released from a Louisiana facility this weekend after being detained since March.
Thank you so much for all the support and love. I am a little bit tired, so I will take some rest.
The administration accusing the Turkish national of being involved in groups that may undermine U.S. foreign policy.
Back to habeas corpus, any suspension of that fundamental constitutional right would almost certainly be challenged in court. Whit.
Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you tonight. Now to the NBA playoffs and racially charged comments allegedly directed at one of the top players on the Golden State Warriors. One fan ejected from the game, and authorities are looking for another. Here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
Tonight, as the Golden State Warriors prepare to take the court against the Minnesota Timberwolves in a tied semifinal series. Hey, it was him! The Timberwolves announcing they're investigating whether their fans made racially charged comments towards Warriors star Draymond Green during Game 2. The Timberwolves say this video shared on X shows part of the incident they're investigating. You see Green reacting and Target Center Arena security getting involved. The Timberwolves say one fan was ejected by arena security for violating the NBA fan code of conduct in an incident, and security are looking for a second person who left on his own before security could identify him. The fan ejection happening after Green got his 5th technical foul during this year's playoffs. Green upset, speaking to reporters after the game.
I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
The Timberwolves continue their investigation and say additional action may be taken towards the fans. The Warriors face off the Timberwolves at home tonight for Game 3.
Melissa Don, thank you. And tonight, the New York Knicks taking on the Boston Celtics, the best-of-7 series moving to New York for Game 3 between the longtime rivals. The defending champion Celtics enjoying the change of venue. This afternoon, they held on to a big lead, beating the Knicks 115-93. Game 4 Monday night back at Madison Square Garden. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday. The reaction from Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni's subpoena. And the latest on a Soviet-era spacecraft that came crashing down to Earth. Next tonight, the remains of a decades-old Soviet-era spacecraft have returned to Earth. Russian and European space officials say what was left of Cosmos 482 came down somewhere in the Indian Ocean today. Scientists say the chances of it hitting anyone were very low. Cosmos 482 was supposed to go to Venus in 1972. A rocket malfunction, though, left it stranded in Earth's orbit. When we come back, the rapid reaction from Taylor Swift's team to a subpoena in the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni legal battle. To the Index now, Taylor Swift's camp is blasting a move to have her testify in the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni court fight, calling it tabloid clickbait. Swift has been subpoenaed in the case. Lively and Baldoni are suing each other over alleged conflicts while filming It Ends With Us. A spokesperson for Swift says the singer's only involvement with the film was licensing one song. Up next here, a special Mother's Day weekend for a group of nurses in Wisconsin, taking a cue from their patients. Finally tonight, an extra special Mother's Day weekend at a Wisconsin hospital.
These nurses in Green Bay, Wisconsin have every reason to smile this Mother's Day weekend.
We have 14 nurses who are all pregnant.
11 of them at HSHS St. Vincent Hospital, proudly posing with their baby bumps. Incredibly, all working on the same labor and delivery floor, beaming when asked how far along they are.
We're about halfway through. 27 weeks.
Their pregnancies creating a special bond in this already close team.
It was fun and exciting to see the beginning group of nurses come through and say, hey, I'm expecting, and I'm expecting, and I'm expecting. So it's fun to be able to come through and say, yeah, me too.
Their firsthand experience deepening the connection with their pregnant patients, too.
Once their bellies started to show, I was like, oh yeah, our nurses are experiencing the same things that our patients are.
The first baby in the group due any day now, and the 14 nurses are already looking forward to recreating the work-family photo next year with their new additions.
We are definitely going to recreate that next year with all the kiddos.
Congratulations and happy Mother's Day. I'm Whit Johnson. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.